Shem Creek Park for an early morning walk on the boardwalk. What you got? These tiny crabs.
The problem is they're all in their holes.
Digging these little holes. Well, they're hiding from you. Don't mess with them. They were here first. You see it? Next up, Fort Sumter. And I believe that's our boat to get there. See our mode of transportation over here? Electric bikes, pretty fun. Your idea to go to Fort Sumter. What's up? Why Fort Sumter?
Just wanted to see what the forts look like.
Do you know what it's about? I read the sign. This fort was to protect the U.S. from foreign invasion. But what happened instead, the U.S. turned on itself and the Confederates ended up attacking the Union here and it started the Civil War. Looks like they had air conditioning. Haha, dad joke. Fort was left relatively alone for about 2 years, and as the war progressed, the Union wanted it back. They wanted to hang this flag in it once again, and that's why that part of the fort is 30 feet shorter than it once was. Destruction. I'm wanting to read the history bits, and you're wanting to say, come on. This reminds me of when I was a kid and it was my father I was rushing. I didn't get it. But dude, I didn't know that story of Fort Sumter until I stopped and read one of those signs. And now there's a story behind this. I totally get it. I think this trip is, as much as it is about him, you know, celebrating him becoming a man, it's also celebrating me becoming a father, or at least a more experienced father. Taking time and noticing changes, noticing them growing up. Like, you don't see him sitting on my lap, do you? We're not holding hands. What about a nice side hug? Very embarrassing in public. Huh? I remember that. I remember thinking when everybody was looking at me. And now that I'm a man, I know nobody's looking at me. It's a good perspective for me because it wasn't too long ago. You were this little baby, squishy baby Henry. Sitting on my lap, changing you, wiping your butt. Of course, holding your hand, having you sit on your lap. And here's the thing I've been thinking about today. Jonah never came to me and said, hey, this is the last time I'm gonna sit on your lap. Really enjoy this. Last time I'm gonna hold your hand. You know, that just didn't come. Or we would enjoy it more. Makes me think of when Gideon asked me that Gideon's 8, if he could ride in the ergo. That's the baby carrier. I probably should have done it. That could have been the last time. When was the last time you rode in the ergo? Way before that, because we had other kids.
That was right after you had your son. No.
In fairness, I took him on a piggyback ride, but just, you never know. You never know when they're gonna stop being squishy. It just happens slow, doesn't it? And now I have to be a man that nurtures him, gains his trust, but without the affection, without the boyish affection. Gotta let him have responsibility, give it up to him for decision making. I don't think it's gonna be any easier. It might be easier physically. Definitely gonna be easier physically. Gonna be a lot trickier mentally.
This is a big gun.
Yeah, it is. You could get inside of that. Next up, the the Battleship. Does that bring back memories?
Yeah.
Remember what I said about them slowly growing up? We were here 5 years ago on the Great American Farm Tour, and Jonah still had a little tiny kid, little tiny voice. Here we go, Apollo.
Are we in that rocket?
And if there's a next time we're here, your voice is probably gonna be, it's another 5 years, you'll be 19. This is a case where you have to trust me, Jonah. I'm aware enough to follow like the tour signs.
Somebody slept here.
Ah,
That's crazy.
Chief of Staff. And he just wants to go, and I'm saying, you just gotta trust me. We're building that trust. Which means then you can tell me anything. And it starts with me just being able to read for him. Interpret signs for him. Get him around town, right?
Yeah.
When we don't know where we're going. And then before you know it, he's telling me stuff. Anything you want to tell me? When the camera's not rolling. Any questions?
When the camera's not rolling.
When the camera's not rolling. That's the good stuff. Here he is, officer. We're in the jail. We're at the jail. Look. Can you imagine being stuck in there on the ship? There's 3 beds in there. Me and the kid, man in training, rented some electric bikes.
What have we done?
Right? We just crossed that bridge. That must have been 4 miles. 3-mile bridge. 4 miles.
It's really a 30-mile bridge?
It's big. But we did it. We did it, man. How do you feel?
Tired.
Tired. Alright, let's get some rest.